We're going to begin shortly, less than a minute. Welcome to today's webinar. I'm so excited to bring in our speakers. We have Richard Anderson, our EVP Prospector North America, and Sudhanshu Gupta, our esteemed guests, who will be joining us from India, and Rahul Bakaya, who will be interviewing him. You'll be hearing a lot more, but before all that, let's do some housekeeping. This webinar will be recorded and will be available to download on our website along with the presentation. We will send an email alert to everyone once it's available. All participants will be kept on mute by default. We request you to type your questions in Q&A section in your GoToWebinar menu. If your questions remain unanswered during the session, we will email them to you, the answers at the earliest post-webinar. So, are you ready for an exciting session? In today's agenda, we'll have Richard, who will be presenting the entire story about data culture and on data quality and data governance. This presentation will be followed by our guest speaker, Sudhanshu Gupta, Vice President, Business Excellence, UPL. This will be followed by a Q&A session. The Q&A session is, as you know, we have a Q&A segment in your GoToWebinar. You just type in your questions there, and we'll try to take as many as possible. And if we can't answer your queries, as mentioned before, we will email them to you in answers, and that way we can be connected. So over to Richard, who will take us to this beautiful journey.
Malika, thank you. Malika, thank you very much. I appreciate you taking the time to introduce me. Today I'm going to be speaking about data quality as a precursor to data governance programs. I'm very excited about this topic. It's a topic that I have a lot of passion about, a lot of experience in. By way of background, I have about 15 years of experience in data quality and data governance, specifically expertise in all areas of supply chain, a lot of experience in the SAP world, but in general, data quality, its impact on our business processes and reporting, and the data governance that's required to keep our data right. By way of introduction, I would like to provide a little bit of background on Prospecta, the organization that I'm coming to you from today. Approximately 20 years old, we are a global organization with several hundred employees worldwide with a sole focus on data management and data automation. The product suite and capabilities that we bring to our clients and to our partners are SaaS-based in the cloud. We have a very strong relationship with SAP as an endorsed partner, and we've recently been recognized by both Forrester and Gartner for excellence in the data quality and data governance space. So our credentials really do have that focus area of data quality, data governance, and its impact on our businesses today. I think at a foundational level, what many of us find is that data quality is a problem. It's a problem for our reporting. It's a problem for our business efficiency. It's a problem to execute our business processes flawlessly. In a recent study completed by Gartner, they found that as much as $15 million on average is cost to that business because of poor data quality. That $15 million could go to other opportunities, other ways to make our companies more efficient, to make our organizations more efficient. Poor data quality hits organization where it hurts on the bottom line. And so our goal today is to discover some strategies and tactics to avoid those costs. We need to act because businesses are impacted by data. It costs money, right? The $15 million, high quality data really is required for your operations, your decision making, your analytics. That operational efficiency can be impacted, and it can impact your ability to make decisions about the course corrections that you might need to make. Risks around compliance, around regulations, around controls are introduced when you have poor data quality. Ultimately, our ability to grow and innovate is negatively impacted because our operational innovation, our business models, our organizational understanding of what we're doing on a supply chain level, on a financial level, on a customer success level, can all be negatively impacted by that foundational master data that's in our systems. So what I'm going to do now is actually take us through some foundational steps, some steps that any organization can take to ensure that data quality is high, to ensure that data quality doesn't impact your business processes, it doesn't impact your analytics, and it enables you to differentiate in your marketplace. And that first step is to establish a baseline. What do I mean by a baseline? We've all been in a situation, I think, where we raise our hands or we bury our faces and say, my data stinks. I'm not able to run the reports. I'm not able to actually execute the business process that I'm responsible for, whether it be in supply chain, maintenance and operations, in finance. I was sitting in a customer event one time, and one of my clients said to his colleague, "Do you trust your data?" And he said, "Absolutely." And his next question was, "Would you bet your job against it?" You can imagine the surprise, but you can also imagine what happened as he hesitated. Well, maybe I don't trust it that much. We have bad data in our systems because systems don't necessarily control for the quality of data. And so by establishing a baseline, you're able to actually quantify, why does my data stink? How much does it stink, right? And so that baseline is done through profiling, looking at things like how complete is the information? Am I consistently describing a customer or a spare part or a supplier? Is there duplication in my data? Are each of those records unique? Does that data have integrity? Have we gone out and done address validations against our suppliers? Have we done address validations against customer delivery addresses? Once that baseline and health assessment has been completed, we can take that back to the business, back to the IT organization, and confirm the findings to say, we know that our data stinks. Instead of anecdotally sharing with you that we have bad data, here's an evidence-based look at what that data is doing. Here is how it's impacting our business. Here's why we need to act and act quickly on the quality of that information. The next step will be to link that baseline, link your understanding of your data challenges to business outcomes. In a sample of business benefits tied to spare parts and MRO material masters, you have quantified and unquantified opportunities for improvement. On an unquantified area, you might be able to reduce your EH&S risks. You might be able to improve your asset reliability. You might be able to maximize CMMS investments. In a quantified area, you might be able to improve operational maintenance efficiency, reduce maintenance inventory costs, improve data management efficiencies. And within each of those areas, within each of those business benefits, you can actually assign quantifiable calculations to the business benefits you might achieve. For example, one of our customers, a global manufacturing company with over $10 billion in revenue, was able to achieve a less than €1 ROI by cleaning up their data, getting that data right, and then deploying a governance solution to keep the data right. They had over $3 million of benefits in reduced procurement costs. They were able to reduce inventory maintenance costs by over $2.5 million. Even in their procurement and maintenance productivity, they saw gains of approximately $500,000. Some of these were one-time benefits, some of them were ongoing benefits, but that less than 1 year ROI was very compelling to them as an organization. Once you've actually established those business benefits, the next step would be gain business alignment. Data crosses multiple organizations, multiple users, multiple groups within your company. In order to establish a data culture, you have to get all of the fish swimming in the same direction. You have to work as a village to ensure that your data gets right and stays right. It might impact your CFO, it might impact your CIO, it could impact your operations committee, it could impact the project teams and data committee. In order to be effective in establishing a data culture, you have to take everyone within that organization from the top down into the net. You have to get them to understand, here's the benefits that we're going to achieve if we improve the quality of our data within our maintenance organization, within our procurement organization. Here are the steps that we need to take in order to improve the quality of that data. And here's what it's going to mean for you on a day-to-day basis for your job. Here's what it means to you and how you're going to support our corporate initiative. We can't do it alone. We do have to get that sponsorship from on high, but we also have to have our users engaged in the discussion and engaged in the decision making to ensure a successful program. Once you have gotten this far and you've gotten the alignment of your organizations, you need to build a plan. And I like to break it down into really 3 steps. One is that data health assessment. We establish the baseline. We take it away from the anecdotal, hey, my data kind of stinks, to the evidential, here's the challenges with my data and here's how it's impacting our business. Once you've established that baseline, once you have that assessment and you understand what you might be able to accomplish, you then get to a point where you can start to cleanse and enrich that data. And that is the heavy lifting of fixing the existing data in your systems. We might take it out of an SAP system. We might look at a Maximo system. It could exist in an Oracle system all at once. By extracting that data, cleansing, standardizing, and improving the quality of that data, you establish a footprint of information that you're going to be able to utilize in an ongoing fashion that's going to improve your analytics, that's going to improve the business processes, that's going to improve the business areas that you're looking for benefits for. That's not an easy task though, right? It does take effort, it takes time, and it takes money. And you want to protect that effort. And that's where data governance comes in. Not only data governance and master data management, the technology, but also the processes and the organizational structure to manage that data in an ongoing fashion. So as you take action, as you build out that plan, embedding the data culture, the steps are simple. Assess your current state, cleanse and enrich that data, and then govern the data to protect the investment that you've made in high quality information in your systems. The final step, right, that ties back to governance is leveraging a technology to protect your data integrity and your data quality. Here at Perspecta, we've spent the last 20 years developing a platform, MDO, that gives you the capability to manage master data, to assess the quality of that information and fix the existing quality of data, to provide the analytical basis around, in a self-serve capacity, to visualize data quality and dashboards, not only around the quality of information, but the process, to establish a data catalog and a lineage, and then to integrate that data out to the multiple systems of record that you have within your environment. MDO Fuse provides that solution with a robust roadmap behind it to ensure data quality stays high for a long period of time within your company. So let's review, right? Assess the quality of your data, get the evidential look and baseline for what you need, link that data and the outcomes of your assessment to key business benefits, get cross-functional alignment between the multiple groups and organizations and individuals that are going to need to support the program, but also the ongoing governance, execute against a plan to understand your data, clean your data, and keep your data clean, and then leverage technology to ensure success, not only on monitoring of data quality, but management of the creation and maintenance of your master data across your enterprise applications. I think that we can all agree that high quality data is critical to the success of your organizations. And what we're going to hear about now is a bit of information from UPL about why high quality data is critical to them, how they've linked data improvements to outcomes, and how they were able to get to the investment that was required in order to get the data right and keep the data right. The analysis of that data, laying out of real world risks and opportunities related to improvement drives that organizational change. We're here as a company, as Prospecta, to support you in that journey and would be happy to have a more detailed discussion. But for now, I'd like to thank you for listening to me. We'll hand things over to the real stars of the show, Sudhanshu Gupta, Vice President of Business Excellence with UPL, and Rahul Bhakaya, Head of our Global Marketing here at Prospecta.
Hello everyone, I am Rahul Bhakaya and I am delighted to welcome you to a friendly chat with Sudhanshu Gupta, who is Vice President of Business Excellence at UPL. And today our topic of discussion is data governance strategy for master data management. Data is the new oil, has transformed the way modern enterprises perceive and approach data. But amassing petabytes of data would be for naught if these data go unchecked and ungoverned. That's why you need to have data governance. While data management is purely administrative, collecting, sorting, validating, maintaining data, data governance is more strategic and holistic. A data governance framework prescribes the definition, roles, responsibilities, and access and security of data, among others. Put simply, it drives the strategy to govern data through people, processes, and policies. With that in mind, let's jump into a friendly and informative chat with Sudhanshu and discover his journey of data governance and UPL. Good day, Sudhanshu. How are you?
Hi, how are you, Rahul?
I'm very well. I'm very well. Hey, Sudhanshu, I know I've given you a little bit of introduction, but I would love for you to spend some time and tell our audience a little bit about yourself and your role at UPL.
Hi, guys. I'm Sudhanshu, and I have been working in UPL for about 18, 19 years. And I wore different hats, worked in different functions, different SBUs within the company. And in the current role, I'm heading business excellence. And one very important component of business excellence is, of course, the data. And how do we put the governance? How do we maintain the data quality? So, and apart from that, also in business excellence, we also have the analytics part. This whole structure was very, very, collaborative and very, suiting each other, because one feeds into another, and it's very easy to sort out the problems which we encounter in analytics within the group itself. And we are based in Mumbai, and that's all about me, I think.
That's great, Sudhanshu. Great introduction. And speaking with you from Sydney, Prospecta head office, and you sitting in Mumbai. I'm native Indian, I really miss India, and I really miss Mumbai. I've been to Mumbai a few times, and it's a great place to be. Um, so I hope you're having fun over there. Just
Yes,
to,
we have a lot of monsoon coming here, so we are going to have a lot of fun here.
yeah, I've heard about Mumbai's June and July monsoon.
Yeah.
To be careful about, but yeah, fun to hear. So Sudhanshu, as a leader in the industry, we all speak and we all talk about master data management. Um, what has been your approach and your understanding of master data management when it comes to your journey at UPL?
Well, see, I think my journey or UPL journey is no different from any other manufacturing company. So I think it's important to draw a distinction between companies which are coming from the service side, or banking side, or financial side. I think manufacturing is quite different compared to those. I think where servicing and insurance and banking, they're quite matured, and there is a lot of data sensitivity, and the rules and regulation of local countries are applied. So they have been, very conscious about data and the governance and access and all those things long back. I think manufacturing has been a little bit laggard in that, and but I guess a lot of companies during the COVID, a lot of digitization projects, DNA transformation projects are realizing that we need to have data can give us a lot of insights into it, and that's something when they try to draw insight, the first problem which crops up in front of them is the data quality.
Right.
That's a pain point, and that's where we all start scratching our head. How do we address this? This is we have heard, but a lot of time, but never paid a serious attention on that. How do we go around that? So that's probably the first journey, first time when we started looking at it, and I think the most important component in this is, as you already mentioned, is process and people. And many a times process gets compromised because of various various challenges, and the full accountability and roles and responsibilities not very clearly documented, and I would say, like, many Indian companies are not very good in documentation, in terms of creating the rules, and who's responsible for what, and what should be the validations and all of those stuff, which is a good practice. But I think a lot of I don't have much experience about other international companies, but at least a few of Indian companies, I know that we are not so great in that. And so it kind of, when we start to look at the master data, I think the journey starts from very start point, because even if we have implemented any applications enterprise wise, like SAP or Salesforce or any other application for that matter, the documentations has been created probably long back when the first implementation was. And then there are a lot of changes which probably business, it happens over the time, and then that those documents kind of became a little bit obsolete, and they have not relevant so much, because so much of changes happen. So that's probably many of the companies, manufacturing companies, will find in the same spot, which we also found about a couple of years back. And I think so. So I think one is the most important thing is the process, and of course the people. And so that's, I think, we should certainly address both. Otherwise, it is difficult to address those teething troubles.
And I think I completely agree with you on that point. So I think process is very important and critical, but I think people part is important, critical, and challenging, right? Because that involves nuances of upskilling people and giving them what they need to excel in what they are doing. And that's where we get the terms coined as data culture that needs to be embedded in each and every person of the organization who is dealing with data. And I think being in your position, you would have seen the renaissance of data culture in your organization from nothing to everyone thinking about data culture as a second thing. Which brings me to my next question. In regards to maintaining a proper master data management, in your organization, you would have got some ideas around data governance, whether it's active, whether it's passive. Would you like to talk a little bit about that and what your approach has been when it comes to data governance?
Well, that's actually correct. When people started to look at data culture, most of us, we start to think about analytics and insights. And most of the time, the data governance part and the data quality part is something which is get missed out. Very soon, people realize that data governance is extremely important. And in data governance, I think active or passive, whichever way we do, always starts from which are the important use case that we want to tackle. Use case in a sense that what is it that we want to draw out more, because there are so many processes, small and big, and there are so many data points in each process which are involved. So where do you start? Because it's like a it's a huge word. It's an ocean. So you cannot clean the ocean. You cannot do everything. So you got to really look at which are your core processes. You got to look at which are your core fields, which are your core use cases, which is actually bottleneck, or you want a certain analytics to perform. What are those cases, and which are those processes that you need to really put an active governance? And sometimes we have to realize that active governance is not always possible. While we have the active governance, passive governance also becomes important to maintain that quality, because there is constant change which keeps on happening within the organization, and also not just the change in the data, but also the processes keeps getting updated based on the business requirement. And if it is a global company where different countries will have a different set of requirements, something keeps changing everywhere. So data governance, active and passive, identifying who are the decision makers on those rule sets, having a regular calls, and bringing out those things. So it's kind of a very important to set up those things so that people coming from the functional, because these data decision makers are going to come from the regular business process on. They're the important people who have been in the organization. But to instill the understanding what is data governance means, I mean, that itself will take considerable time. So it's very important to have a regular meetings with them so that they understand that why we are having this meeting. And earlier, when we used to take a decision that it just goes one way, but now that same thing is getting impacted by so many other stakeholders. So active and passive both are important, and the whole discipline of governance and the owners and stewards is also extremely important in my view.
And that's great response, Sudhanshu. And what I'm hearing is a lot of data quality issues in our conversation. I'm very glad that you're bringing this up. I've coined this saying with my own Shakespeare mood, which is master data management strategy without data quality is a recipe for disaster.
Absolutely, you are absolutely spot on, I think.
So in regards to data quality, and when I speak with a lot of leaders in data quality, they say, there's a data quality issue, data is not right. But what I fail to sometimes hear or understand is what are the nitty-gritty of data challenges, data quality challenges? Like, so if I have to maybe ask you, 5 to 6 challenges that you encountered on ground, that you're like, I need to get this fixed before I go to sleep. What would those be?
Well, I think one of the biggest challenge sometimes is changing the mindset of people, because essentially we have people who are running some processes, and if there is a some data which needs to be captured right, uh, uh, it's essentially they have to be sensitive to it, that what data they are inputting actually is going to be consumed by somebody else. And till some, so that's, in my view, that has been the biggest time-taking activity to sensitize people. And that's one step of the data journey, and any organization moves that, somebody, when they are putting anything, whether it is cost center, whether it is, brand details, or is it anything that they are putting, they're conscious of that this particular information is going to be consumed and it is going to be used in some kind of a algorithm and probably giving some business decision. So that's something which is one of the most important thing, to sensitize people, and those people. And another challenge, probably what I have seen, is that those people are not in the big forums, or at a senior level, very senior level, where these things do not get percolated down. So a lot of time they are not even aware that these kind of challenges somebody is actually having, and these initiative has been initiated by the company, and what my role is into it. So they don't see a big picture. So that's something which is extremely very practical, and longest taking time within the data journey in an organization. That's, I think, one of the key challenge that I have faced. And I think the second challenge is for companies who have implemented their enterprise-wide solutions long back. I think the processes which has been deployed or altered during the time, probably they were not optimized from the point of view of capturing the right set of data. They are optimized for the process that it should happen very fast. Okay, so if this is information is not available, that's fine. I mean, let's find some shortcut. So those things comes to bite at a later stage when we are trying to do some data. So those process correction, again, it's again a change management. So a lot of people need to be consulted. It's impacting other people. So I think that's something which is, these are the practical ground level challenge which I feel. And also, I think what happens is, another thing is that when we are really looking at the data becomes humongous, after 5-6 years of implementation and all of that. So churning that data out and trying to apply some rules onto it. And so need to have a good platform where all these things can be done in a much faster and quick way, because expectations are high typically from the management. Anybody would expect that in 2 months' time, at least this data should be available with me. And if in 2 months' time we are unable to deliver that, then it's a problem. So if we have some kind of applications, we can't just solely rely on Excels to do the data quality kind of setup. So if we have some good partner who can understand our processes, and or we have in-house application, I think those are also very helpful things. So I think it's more about change management and people management, and ground changing the the ground rules is something which I feel the biggest challenge that we have.
I think it's a kind of chicken and egg situation. Sometimes you want data very quickly because the management wants it, but you don't want to compromise on quality. But then if you compromise on quality, then you have to deliver it quickly. So what you have to do, you have to partner with someone who can assist you on the way to get your data quality up to the mark, so Absolutely. You can achieve that KPIs with your executives. But I really like your point on basically the people part of data quality, because they need to understand that whatever they are entering in the data system has got an effect in the bigger picture. And obviously we have seen examples wherein organizations, enterprises have lost revenue because something was entered incorrectly at a very ground level that was trickled up straight to the revenue stream. But I think that's a very key point that people people do forget, and I congratulate you on reminding that to everyone, yeah, including me, and learning from you today. I will make sure that whatever I'm entering into the system, whether it's CRM, whether it's marketing automation, I will make sure I'll check it 100 times before entering. So that's a great one. Before I let you go, Sudhanshu, I mean, you've been through all of the processes of data transformation, active passive governance, data quality. In this field, if you have to give an advice to someone who has just begun their data transformation, and they're thinking of putting active and passive, or maybe they're not even thinking of active and passive governance because it's too late, as you have said, they realize, but they're looking at the data transformation journey. What are the 2 to 3 key advices you will give them?
One of my first advice will be not to take on too many things. Start small. Set a good example in front of people so they start believing in it. Because if we bring, we will bring the whole new word, that's kind of, we can see a movie for that. But real transformation happens slowly. And those are the same people who within the organization who is to work on it. So you need to convert those. So we need to create, people need to create a win story. Start small, something, and so that you can handle it well. The quantum of the work is manageable, and you can have a good control. Create a good success story in a short period of time, showcase in front of a lot of people, liaising with them, understand them, make them aware that, look, this is what has happened. Convert them on your side. That's, I think, I would say a very important thing. And start slowly the process, which are high impact, and also assigning who are the data owners and data stewards, and who are the decision committee and all. But I think one of the most important thing in any of the journey like this, where change management is there, is support from the senior management. So in absence of support from the senior management, this could be absolutely a disaster. Right. So that's something which is extremely important, how you convince your senior management about it. There can be a lot of business cases which are very close to the senior management. It could be a new M&A people are doing, that their master data becomes extremely crucial. Right? Any new analytics, and now there's a lot of analytics can give additional revenue streams. Any new DNA journey can also give a lot of streams, new streams. Those are also very important and very interesting, which can entice top senior management into buying, this whole concept. So I think these 2-3 things, if we do, hopefully, fingers crossed, I think the journey should start from a small, but can become a very large kind of thing, and it could be a good transformation journey for the company.
That's great. That's good. So start small, get people support, win their confidence, and make sure you have support from the executives.
Yep, absolutely.
You have a good recipe over there. So thank you so much, Sudhanshu. That was an amazing chat with you. And I hope our viewers will learn so much as I have today from this webcast. Thank you so much, and have a nice day, Sudhanshu.
Thank you, Rahul, for hosting me. Nice chatting with you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Rahul, for hosting me. Nice chatting with you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Wow. So that was very, very exciting information. And there are a few things that Sudhanshu actually talked about today that really resonated with me. Right? He talked about process. He talked about people. He talked about accountability and how you need to have accountability from top to bottom within an organization in order to be successful at this. But one of the things that resonated most with me was the use of both active governance, right, for maintenance of data at the source as it's created, but then passive governance, so that you can identify where bad data may have been entered into the system proactively. A lot of us are in the technology world, a lot of us are in the technology space here, and the technologies that are available out there to do that, both active and passive governance, have improved dramatically over time. And then the last thing that resonated were some of the comments that Sudhanshu made towards the end of his discussion. Right, start small, show success, make sure that you have the support from your senior leadership, but then also communicate that success. When you communicate that success, instead of having to push other people in the organization towards data quality and data governance, I think that you actually get a pull where other groups, other individuals are going to say, "Oh, what are you doing around this data quality, data governance thing? Maybe I want some of that. Maybe that's going to actually make an impact in my part of the business and what I'm trying to accomplish." So I know that there are a bunch of questions out there. Instead of listening to me talk about that, why don't we get some of the questions asked, and we'll try and get through as many as we can in the next 5 minutes.
Yes, Richard. So it was really so much of knowledge and education, and also the all this experience that he so easily transferred in this interview. I was like in an aha moment, and many of our attendees have also interacted. So we have a question here. Cleansing is still reactive in nature. We all know that. Data is generated by systems, and if systems are functionally not designed to control wrong data entry, that's completely a different scope of work. Any comments?
Yeah, I actually do, and I love this question. I think it actually goes back to one of the things that Sudhanshu talked about. Systems aren't meant to, right? But our predominant SAP systems, whether it be a CRM, ERP systems, whether it be CRM, your GL system, your accounting system, they're really not meant to manage the quality of data, right? They never were built, purpose-built for that function. And so I think that what the audience member says is really true. Right, data is generated by systems, but data is also generated by the users of those systems. And so while we have SAP or Oracle or Infor or Maximo or other types of ERP systems, I think that it's important to have technology in place that is purpose-built for the governance of data quality. And when you have that system in place, you're able to manage things at a field level, at a user level, in the creation process of data, so that the wrong data entry doesn't take place. You have guidelines, you have rails on the road that say this is how you create the data, this is what's allowable values for the data at a field level. This is the process of who can do it, when they can actually create that data, and how they manage it. And I think that the master data management capability of MDO is a perfect example of that active governance of data as it's created by the user and the system itself. If you look at the material master, right, you've got the short and long text description. You want to automate the creation of that short text description so that each and every time you create a material, a spare part, or a finished good, you follow the same rules to do that. MDO and technology like MDO provides you that capability. But, right, because data can be introduced into that system through other channels, through other activities, through, as Sudhanshu said, I think he said the changes in org structure, in processes, you need to have something that's passive, that monitors the quality of information, that you can quickly go in and analyze the existing data in your systems and say, hey, here's an example of where we have bad data, whether it be your supplier information or your customer information or your product information. Here's an example of bad data. We need to go in and clean that up. And that's where technology comes in as well. Technology allows you to identify the bad actors or the bad information in that system and then clean it up.
So we have another question, very interestingly related also about S4.
Okay.
So it goes like this: we are implementing S4. Where should we start with data quality and data governance?
Oh, that's great. So I see a lot of organizations and customers actually tackle data quality and data governance as a part of their S4 journey, right? This is a massive transformation that's going to touch almost every part of your business. And there's no time like that S4 transformation to actually improve on the quality of information that's going to be in your systems. I've seen a lot of ERP transformations fail because customers haven't actually addressed data quality, right? So what happens is they start to implement SAP or another ERP system, and at go live, right, the users log in, the data's bad, and they say, oh, this system stinks, it doesn't work, because of the poor quality of data. Because of the poor quality of data that's in that system, they're not getting the results, right, from an improved business process, from improved decision-making capabilities, because at the foundation, they never improved their data. So in the beginning of any sort of S4 transformation, what I've seen be effective is a baseline, right? Understand where I have data challenges that are going to impact that S4 transformation. B, start to clean up early, right? That this is something that you can do in advance of even starting your S4 journey. You can start cleaning up that data. It's going to help you and your organization and your business processes. And then C, as you go through that S4 deployment, as you clean up the data in parallel and start to migrate it into S4, I would recommend implementing governance in parallel with that, so that when you go live, and as you go through the change management, right, for your organization, you have good quality data in place. You change your overall process to align not only to S4, but to the new governance structures that you have. That type of process where you clean up the data and implement governance in parallel with S4, it's a little bit like insurance for that program, right? You don't want the data to go bad 3 months after S4 is in place, so that the major transformation doesn't achieve the efficiencies or milestones or benefits that you're looking at.
Thank you so much, Richard. I would love to keep going. We have wonderful questions, so I'll send them all to you. And of course, and please do send these replies. And I welcome all the people who are watching us today. Please send in your questions to us and we will try to answer them. And thank you for tuning in and looking forward for amazing data in the new world. And please stay safe and be good. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Alika. Bye-bye.